During summertime, you think about breaking open a nice ice-cold beer, but it's not just for beer anymore, summertime I mean, because ciders have really made a surge in the last several years. And this week, one of the premier cideries in Buffalo, that being OSB Ciderworks, we talk with them this week and talk about their beginnings out in the Finger Lakes, their transformation to Buffalo, and basically what they have going on here in the near future. So join me because it's the Buffalo Brews podcast, which starts right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Buffalo Brews podcast. I am your host, Jason Ettinger, and thanks for joining me this week, just like you do each and every week on your favorite podcasting platform. Hey, raise your hand if you're listening on Spotify. Okay, now raise your hand if you're on Apple Podcasts. Okay, good. How about for you on Google Podcasts? Okay, now demographics. How about the women? Okay, that's pretty good. How about the guys? All right, I'll stop this bit, okay? Hey, thanks, as always, for joining me each and every week. Whatever platform that it is that you listen on, you can listen. We're on every platform. I would challenge you to send me something that I'm not on. That means that you did some deep diving if you did find one. If you find one, I'll find a way to get on there too. So it's all about the magic. You know, just recently, Travis Brown, who was one of the gentlemen who got me actually kind of rocket strapped into the podcasting world, gave some feedback that they were giving us a follow, and it seems like they're liking what we're doing here. And it's nice to know that the people that kind of helped you put you in that position are now, avid followers as well, because they like to see that progress and how you're doing. So, make sure that you follow us each week. You just hit that subscribe or that follow button. Recommend us out. Family, friends, coworkers, you name it. I know I work in a job where I can take in podcasts and still comfortably do my work because I don't have to deal with the phones that often. So I'm able to enjoy a lot of podcasts. Several of them have to do with beer around Buffalo, home brewing. Personally, I like to listen to a lot of podcasts that relate to spy controversies or professional wrestling, some that have to do with football now and again. It doesn't matter, but it keeps me entertained and it makes the day go by so much more smooth as my microphone decides to take a sudden tip over. But we're going to keep going on that. We're not even going to edit that out because that's how we roll here. Plus, we're going to keep this opening rather short because we have about a 30-minute interview on the back, and that interview is going to be with Elise Smith, who is with OSB Ciderworks out of Buffalo. They have a location located in the Finger Lakes in Lakeville, New York, and they opened up a tap room in 2021 if it comes down to brass tacks, because COVID decided to give them the old kick in the pants as well, and you'll hear about that in the interview. So last week I was talking about with the 4th of July weekend that I had an opportunity to go back near the motherland and headed down to Mayville, and I stopped in at Big Inlet Brewing to take in a flight down there before I went to my family's for the 4th of July holiday. And while I was there, I got an opportunity to talk to some of the folks behind the bar and take in a flight. One of the ones that they really feature heartily there is one that's called a Mainstream Cream, which is their own version of cream ale. It's a 6.0 ABV, one of the smoother cream ales that I've had that have been from a Western New York brewery, to be honest with you. It's a real blue-collar type of ale. Now, the one thing about Big Inlet that, I use the word ale a lot, they only deal in ales. So if you're one of those people that's looking for all this fancy stuff, Big Inlet's not going to be for you. You want to go for ale and you want to drink good ale beer, Big Inlet is for you. It was a very pale cream ale, but very light, and it had a nice hop finish on the back. When I asked the question about, they said that was called a Wilmette hot that was used in that one. So that was very good indeed. The second one they had was their 1801 Farmhouse Ale. So I like a good Vienna ale myself, comparable to say like Rusty Chain from Flying Bison. So this one here was actually a blend of a pale ale, a Vienna, and a wheat malt, and then they put in oatmeal of their own that makes a very strong base for the beer. Add in some orange peel, which is what you get right off the top on the tasting note, and then they also add in Belgian candy sugar, which tends to drive up the ABV on this one. This one comes in at a 8.0, which is a nice strong farmhouse ale. And then that'll add the additional sweetness that balances out the herbs and the fruit characters in that. And then this one also has the Wilmette hops as well, while the Belgian yeasts, they'll impart a spice and fruit notes. Now, I'm using a lot of jargon here, so you might, you flip through your beer thesaurus to figure out what all this means. And sometimes I have to research it myself. I'm learning as I go along, and I'm glad that you're here to go along and learn with me. The third one that I got in there was it was a special run that they did. So you'll remember when I talked about Silver Lake Brewing down in Perry, and they had a rye IPA, which was one of the first times I'd ever tried one, and I quite enjoyed it. So it's a play on an IPA, basically. It's a blend of various malts, and then it has a large portion of malted rye is what I found out is in these rye IPAs. And then this one had a bunch of citrus hops in it. So it makes for a good drinking IPA. They ended up doing this as a special run, and it was brand new while I was there. So not a whole lot of folks that had it so far. But they said, what was the deal? Because I asked the question about what was with the name, and they said that a few of their kegs had earned some road scars that when they had fallen out of the back of the truck being delivered and rolling down Route 394, which is the one that goes around the north part of Chautauqua. I'm sorry, the north and west part of Chautauqua Lake. So they wanted to honor the toughness of the kegs and the followers, so that's where it kind of earned its name. When I asked them what the original name was, they said it really didn't have a name yet. So this is how it earned its name, by a few kegs falling out of the back of the truck. So I thought that was creative, and it was it was good. It was a good rye IPA. I enjoyed that. So I'm going to be looking into that more as I go to more breweries and seeing what they play with as far as these rye IPAs are concerned. The last one was definitely my favorite, and I was singing its praises all over the place, and it was a blonde ale that they had. So you talk about blonde ales, that they're always a good beer, base beer that can showcase fruits. In this particular case, they have what's called Blonde and Blue, and it's a blonde ale that's flavored with blueberry. Light but not too light, and definitely not on the heavy side where it's overpowering, but it has amazing flavor. And then you put that into an easy drinking blonde ale, and then you get this Blonde and Blue. And I could drink this all day. Once again, there comes my term, that summer sipper, but it's got a great aroma and that taste of blueberry. I don't know why I migrate toward blueberry beers a lot, especially nowadays. There's actually one that I'll talk about for a few moments next week as well that I trying as part of a tasting that I'm doing over this weekend. So it was definitely truly, it was like tasting summer in a glass, essentially. And when I got done at Big Inlet Brewing, I head up into Mayville, up where Lakeside Park is, and they were setting up the fireworks displays for, of course, the 4th of July. They're going to fire those off later at night. And I went up to Barney's ice cream that they have there. Very nondescript, almost like that outdoor, back in the days, like when Dairy Queen used to have those strictly outdoor locations. You still see them, here and there. But that old-fashioned kind of, almost woodshed look to them. But but they have their own ice cream there, and I was able to take the opportunity to stop in and partake in an ice cream flight when I saw that on their menu. Flights before pints, right? Hashtag. So I had their cappuccino crunch, their cookie dough, their cookies and cream, and then I capped that off with a specialty one that they had that was a coconut chocolate almond. Me, can't eat almonds too much, but you put a little bit in ice cream, and you know what? My body's not going to revolt, so let's enjoy that. But let me tell you, sitting on basically sitting against the hood of my car in the blazing heat and constantly having to clean it off of my legs because it was dripping down on my legs was well worth it, because all 4 of these flavors homemade, quite amazing. And when I started to look them up on Instagram, I realized that logo looks eerily familiar. So I did a little cross-referencing with the Barney's that is now located on Elmwood Avenue in Buffalo and find out that they are the exact same owner. So there's the Barney's on Elmwood in the city of Buffalo, and then there's Barney's Chautauqua located in Mayville, New York. They are, in fact, the same people. They just make little different ice creams depending on the locations. The Buffalo location has more vegan selections, but you know what? Now it's going to make me want to go to the Elmwood location, and we might have to have a little conversation because I would like to see how that all came about where they ended up in the city of Buffalo. Great location up there. So if you're ever down in Mayville, big Inlet Brewing, and then of course, hey, cap it off with a little ice cream, head up into Mayville and go over to Barney's right across from Lakeside Park there in Mayville. So that's it. That's the opening. There it is. Okay, folks, an interview I did with Elise Smith at OSB Ciderworks. Enjoy.
Okay, let's do it.
Original Stump Blower, OSB.
Yes, here we are at 517 Main Street in Buffalo now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then your other location is in Lakeview.
Lakeville. Yeah, right at the north end of Canisius Lake, with like those Finger Lakes, the Pinky Lake. It's the gateway from the west is what I say. So
Pinky Lake.
Yeah, it's the first finger, it's the gateway. Yeah, we're the closest Finger Lake to Buffalo and Rochester. So we should be everybody's favorite lake.
And I am talking with Elise Smith.
That's correct. I am Elise Smith.
So Elise and I, when we last met, was that when Black Button was still open. Mm-hmm. And you were there doing a tasting, and you had just the rights to the space.
Yes, very exciting.
It's attention time.
I know. Sorry, Lannister wants to say hi. Can you say hi, Bubba? Can you say hi to the people? Can you bark? Go lay down.
Yeah.
Lay down, Bubba. You were sleeping. Now you want to bother everybody.
He was surfing while he wasn't surfing.
Wow, he was sleeping on top of the surf art. Yeah. So, but let's hope he doesn't bark the whole time. We'll see what happens.
No, that's fine. Done interviews where, we were doing it while they were open, while they were busy, and
lots of breaks in between.
Having, you'd have to run back and change a tap and would hit pause, or somebody was walking in without a mask on. He had to say, hey, oh, hey.
Hey, yeah. Well, now we're in no mask zone as long as you're vaccinated type of situation. So I guess the world is changing again. So let's see how it goes.
Back to this normalcy that.
It'd be nice for it to go back to normal. So
that'd be really good.
Exactly.
So original Stump Blower.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my understanding of the story, you'll have to correct me on a few of the details, is the concept came from you and your brother taking your homemade cider and hiding it in the stumps in the woods.
So my dad and his uncle, so our great uncle, they back in the day used to make it, and they would just throw a bunch of stuff in a barrel and let it sit in the basement until it turned into hooch, so to speak. They knew it was done when it tasted like alcohol. I don't know. And then they would bottle it up and hide it around. And then they would joke that it was so strong that it blew up stumps. And then it kind of turned into like slang for backyard swilling, like, hey, let's go blow up some stumps. And we just decided to take that name and turn it into the name for the company. And that's where we came up with Original Stump Blower. And then, of course, because no one's going to call us Original Stump Blower, I was like, OSB for short. And we just kind of designed two logos. And here we are 5 years later, and people still ask us what OSB stands for. So, I think it's at least a good story, whether it's fully truth or not. If you ask my mom the story of it, oh man, she'll never let the truth get in the way of a good story. She'll exaggerate as long as you let her. So, it's definitely got some family history to it, and it makes it interesting and fun on a regular basis. We do make the original. We've fine-tuned the recipe, so we do have it. It's 11% alcohol. We don't have a basement. We have a barrel house, and we don't just throw a bunch of junk in a barrel. We measure stuff accurately, or at least I think they do.
You do it the legal way.
Yes, yeah. Of course. We have to.
And so the original is the
They're based on their recipe. Yeah, it's based on their recipe.
That is,
And it's 11% alcohol, and it tastes very bourbony. We get black button bourbon barrels actually to make it in. So, we try to keep it local whenever possible.
love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. So then, so the day that I met you, so we were talking about, I had tried the hip hop hibiscus, the hold the crust apple pie, which was bomb diggity, and then you said because it was closer to winter at the time, because I believe it was like November or something.
Yeah.
And when we talked, this was November before the great shutdown, and then we had the Gangster's Paradise, and I remember the hibiscus, probably the most unique cider I'd ever had at that point. And really my own experience at that point was just whatever you buy in the store.
Right.
Which wasn't a whole lot at the time.
It's definitely grown since then, which was like the very end of 2018, right?
Yeah.
Or 2019. I was like, what year is that? I don't even know.
I just posted the other day, it's like March 438th, and we're finally, coming out of this.
That's where I don't know what day it is.
So I guess I'm going to start over now. It's almost going to be April Fool's Day 2020 again.
There we go. Let's just do it. Groundhog's Day, right? Where's Bill Murray? I want out. Yeah.
Driving.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we definitely have some fun. Like we made a beef on wax cider. Why is not the question you should ask. It's just why not is really, they like to do fun stuff. Nobody wants to be bored and make the same thing all the time. So, and Motley Blue is of course back now for the summer, which is that blue spirulina and pineapple one that, gets people saying, what are they drinking?
So that's the perfect time now, because that's what I got in front of me right now.
Yeah, it's very pineapple-y.
So, yeah, we get the pineapple right up front.
And it's naturally blue because the spirulina is blue, and it's a health food item. So, I mean, technically, it's a little healthy for you.
Yeah, that's like, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So people are loving that one. And then strawberry is back as well. That'll go on the wall as soon as I kick something else. I think there's a couple that are on the cusp of like the danger zone. They're going to, as soon as I print out new menus, they'll kick. That's just like how it goes, for sure. So we'll see what happens.
Which one did you say when I walked in that was like on its way out?
The Gangster's Paradise, but it's like that never-ending keg, even though it like weighs nothing and I can pick it up with my pinky. Either my pinky's gotten very strong or it's just a keg that will never die.
I'm gonna go with the pinky. Yeah, really strong.
Maybe my pinky is just been doing them pinky push-ups.
So you have the family history, and then you move forward. Now how do you establish your location in Lakeville?
So we're just like right on the north end of the lake, and honestly, it's such like a small town community. It's so great. Some of the regulars have become such good friends of my brother and myself and my mom. Like we just grew up in a more the merrier type of family, and that environment down there is very much similar. Like Lakeville is like, oh, come on, the more the merrier. Like there's room for one more always. I mean, we might all be uncomfortable, but come on in. And that's just kind of how that's gone down there. And we've gotten busier as it goes. And the more that the name and the products get out into bars, the more people know about us and kind of swing in when they realize like, oh, we're just around the corner. Let's just go a little bit extra and try it all out. And then, they have like the standard cherry or pear or apple pie somewhere. And then they come in and they're like, whoa, there's 16 different ciders. And we're like, yeah, we're probably at about 50 that we've made so far. So we like to keep it rotated. Come here. Keep it rotated so that it's fun for everybody. You never know. Like, unfortunately, you never know what's going to be on draft. But we try to keep it interesting for ourselves and for the consumer. We want you to come in and be able to have something different than what you're having, down the street. We don't want it to just be like, oh, I thought there'd be more.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be bored. So the guys like to come up with new, fun, creative things, and we just roll with it.
I always wondered how you would come up with the think tank and the ideas that came with a new flavor to say.
It's pretty organic, honestly. Like it could be like Kaylee's one of our like really cool sales reps. She is also a cider slinger behind the bar, and sometimes we'll just be like having a conversation about like a salad that somebody ate, or literally a juice, or just like it can come from anywhere: food, drink, other alcohol, different liquor flavors, like different inspiration. Like, oh, I was watching a story about Japan, and this is really cool there. I wonder if we could turn that into this, So it's really just like everyday inspiration sparks a flavor, and then it's just like a quick conversation. It's like, we'll try a small batch, see what we think.
Okay.
And it's kind of where it goes. I was like, I want to make a blue cider, and I was like, we could put blue spirulina in it. And then they were like, well, what if we did like pineapple watermelon? And last year it was pineapple watermelon, but nobody could taste the watermelon, and it just watered it down. So we took the watermelon out this year.
And that happens.
Yeah, like no one could taste it. So it's this batch,
I've had some conversations with, they're something they're not overly happy with.
So tweak it.
Hey, because everybody's got a different palate. Like a lot of people think that they just put the glass to their lips, they drink, and they're supposed to pick up everything they're supposed to pick up, but not everybody's the same. Some people are going to like it, some people won't. Why? Sweet, bitter.
Yeah, mint to drop beets is one of our flavors that's like that. It's literally beet and mint. It's fuchsia. It's beautiful. And some people are like, oh my gosh, it's so minty, or oh my gosh, it's so beety. And I'm like, I mean, it's a little bit of both, but it just depends on who's tasting it. Same with when I think like, we had fuzzy basil, which is a peach basil, and some people are like, oh my gosh, it's way too basil. And I was like, I hardly get any basil. Give me more. But it's all based on what you like and your taste buds. And really, that's why like when people ask like, what order am I supposed to drink these in? Or like, what are they? Like all of our descriptions are just nerdy. Like I just write nerd stuff. I'm just like, meh.
Right.
But it doesn't really tell you anything about the cider. I'm not going to tell you about the cider. You tell me about the cider. How is it to you? Because I'm not going to tell you what it tastes like. You tell me what it tastes like.
You got 10 people along this bar. You're going to get 10 different opinions.
Exactly. Like, we're not trying to tell you what it tastes like. We're just trying to give you a little goofy story about maybe how we got that silly name, if you understand.
And instead now you've got, whatever 16 different varieties that are on the menu. So now you might have 10 people down the row who have 10 different
Exactly.
tastes because it's what they like.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
People ask what like our favorites are. The honey chamomile is always my favorite. It took a long time to get them to make that one, but it was also like one of the first ones that we made. And so it was just like it was before we realized like we truly can do whatever we want.
Right.
Because worst case scenario, nobody likes it and we just don't make it again. Not a big deal.
And that one was good. I think that was the second one that I had.
Yeah.
This was the honey. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, that's the one I have here. This one was the Sap It To You, which I've really gotten into, whether it's craft beers or ciders that are made with maple syrup.
Yeah.
And I haven't found one that wasn't a winner yet.
Yeah, we got local maple syrup, and the first time we made it with actual sap and like boiled it down ourselves. And I think that we realized that sometimes it's cool to do that, but sometimes we need to hone it in a little bit and make it a little bit easier, because Eric was standing by like a kettle for like, I don't know, 17 hours, because you can't just leave it going, and that's a lot. Or you have to turn it off and come back, and then you have to reheat it all up. So sometimes we've learned that it's better to adjust and shift on things.
For Eric standing over a cauldron with a boat oar.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. It's like an oil in the pot that we have is from the military. It was our dad's, and I think he got it for like $20, like at some auction or something. And we had the neighbor across the street, Harry. He's really cool. He does all of our welding. So he fitted it with like rollers and like all sorts of fixtures so they could utilize it right in the process of fermenting. So we get lucky where that small community and the people who become our friends are like really a part of the business, and they love it. They're, in the mug club, but they're the first ones to offer to help, and they don't want anything for it 90% of the time. And you're like, come on, man. So you just pay them in cider stuff.
Cider installments.
Exactly. We'll give you a couple mug or growler club memberships. You just get your fills as you need them.
Gotcha. All for getting you in the game,
Yeah, and I mean, it's great to grow with the community and have them have something to be proud of. Our team is actually substantially larger than just the members on payroll. It's for everybody who's in our mug club that keeps coming back and like asking like, oh, is your mom home from Florida yet? Like, they are just part of our daily lives. They're like, oh, Kaylee just went on that dope trip. Like, when's she coming back? I was like, oh, she needed an extra day off. I told her she's going to be tired. But, so it's cool. Like, they've all become like an actual part of the company, whether they know it or not. They're just as important as myself or my brother or the chemist, sales reps. The consumers are pivotal.
So seeing with Lakeville for the moment, you're talking about you've made up and around 50 different cider varieties.
Yeah.
What would you feel would be the overall people's choice?
Oh, well, it depends. So cherry is like super popular. Gangster's Paradise and Hold the Crust in the winter. Grape White Shark and Grape Lakes. We like to layer them. Then you have a lake shark. We're not afraid to mix them. Like we make a rhubarb separate so people can make a strawberry rhubarb if they want, or I like cherry rhubarb. But like our fruited ones are really popular and they always have been. I mean, my favorite's not everybody's favorite, but
all right,
I make it.
And you talked about making a lake shark with the Grape Lakes and the
Grape White Shark.
White Shark.
Yeah.
What was the one you told me about? Was the
Scotch Bonnet Bomber right now in the Motley Blue. It's like a spicy pineapple and people are really into it. But tons of people actually drink the Scotch Bonnet Bomber and I was really skeptical of them making it. I was like, why are you making a spicy, like I'm not going to be able to do anything with this. People love it, but I'm not going to sell it to bars because I don't want to ruin their draft lines. Because the peppers will like seriously.
Oh, wow.
It smells spicier than it tastes, so don't be too scared.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is the Scotch
Bonnet
Bomber, 6.9 ABV.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Smells much spicier than it really is.
Yeah, they roast them off and then kind of like do some magician wizardry in the back. Where like I think a lot of people who are adding peppers into product are juicing the peppers. And I think that I know that they have a totally different process. I'm not going to spill their beans. I don't know if they want me to let people know how they're doing it. So there's all different techniques. So they don't tell me too much stuff. They don't like me to know the secret.
That's all right. I'm starting to talk with more people, and I find more often than not people aren't talking about the techniques.
Yeah, because like it's the same. So I used to work at a bakery in San Francisco, and if you called and asked for a recipe, the chef would give you the recipe. Yeah, Amanda should give you the recipe. And I was like, you just gave them your chocolate chip cookie recipe? She goes, yeah, because they don't know my technique. And you know what? I can give that recipe to 20 different people and tell them to bring me in a cookie, and I guarantee every single one will be different than the one that I produce. Because you can give somebody a recipe, but if they don't understand the technique, you got to cream the butter and the sugar for a certain amount of time, they do turn out differently.
Yes.
And she was not lying.
That's a nice combination of generosity and confidence.
Yeah. She's like, hey, I'll give you my recipe. The odds are not in your favor, I'm not going to teach you how to make the cookie, but I'll give you the, It's always funny because I swear my grandma used to give me recipes and stuff, give them out, and I think she'd tweak, or she'd know something in her brain. Like my, if she was given a recipe and the cookie turned out super weird, and I was like, well, next time you make the cookie, I'm going to watch you make it. And they totally doubled the sour cream. I'm like, that's double what you put in the recipe. They're like, yeah, I know. I just double it. And I was like, wait, that's not in the recipe. They're like, yeah, it's just in my brain. And I was like, okay, touche. Like, you can't give me what's in your brain. You just give me the recipe card that somebody else gave to you, and you've improved on it over time. And you don't even realize that you're doing things differently than what it says on the sheet. So it's kind of cool how things evolve like that.
Yeah. She gets the card with the suggested speed limit. She's like, yeah, I'm going to do 20 over on this curve. And
yeah, there you go.
Blow it out of the water.
Exactly. So it's just like how you interpret it and everything. So I can give you a recipe, but if you don't know the technique, it's going to turn out different. It might turn out better. Hey, what do I know?
Right. And then it goes back to the 10 people at the bar. Who knows?
There you go.
Maybe you made one that worked for you that didn't necessarily work for you in the bar.
I mean, I've made the same recipe twice and messed it up the second time and have no clue how. So.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, you're like, man, these shortbreads turned out great last time. Now they're just like a soppy mess.
Yeah.
And definitely don't put pineapple in your meatloaf, man. Hawaiian meatloaf doesn't work. Put it on top if you want, but don't put it inside. That's a story for another day. It will be a liquid loaf, buddy.
A liquid loaf.
You're going to dinner elsewhere. Don't do it.
They're going out to eat. Everybody get your jackets.
Round them up. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, interesting. So.
All right. Well, listen, soon to go down the rabbit hole of Hawaiian meatloaf.
Yeah, there you go. We're just thinking about Motley Blue pineapple, Pairs well with meatloaf. Keep it in the cider, not in the meatloaf. Yeah.
All right. So now you're in Lakeville.
Yep.
And you're working on the transition to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Now, now that we haven't talked about that, how did
right.
it come to be?
So basically, we had a little bit of distribution in the Buffalo area, but we were self-distributing everywhere else. And we decided maybe it'd be smarter if we just got our own rep and kind of just did it on our own. So we hired a really cool girl, Justine. She's pretty rad. She does freelance design and stuff now. So unfortunately, she's not with us, but come back, Justine. We miss you. But she came kind of out guns blazing and got us in some really solid accounts. And then she was like, we should open a tasting room up here. It would do really well. There's not that much cider. And so I was like, yeah, whatever. I mean, we just picked originally a different location, and then they wanted us to put in like a second bathroom, and it just wouldn't have been feasible. So we kind of were like, oh, that's not going to work. And then we found this location with the help of another girl, Megan, who leases spaces out. So found that, signed the lease in December of 2019. And, you know, submitted paperwork to the liquor authority and everything. Everything was like into everybody by February. We were talking about a building expansion in Lakeville to, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
People who are listening along are now feeling out the timeline.
Oh, yeah. And then Shiplauza. And then, you know, the rest is history on that. Like, neither here nor there. Yeah, just, yeah, Smash City when it comes to that. But, I mean, we made it through. Honestly, we did crowler and growler deliveries. We parked out here, and we had some really cool Buffalo people where we dropped like every other week up here, and we just kind of parked out front. Everybody submitted their orders, and I just was like, call me when you're here, and put it in their trunks. And like I said, man, we wouldn't be here without our really solid customers. Like they're the best. Like, honestly, we have the best customers.
It was really though it was a trying time, it was really amazing to see how the different businesses were able to really rise above what they were presented. And you know, to say we have to do something.
Yeah.
And if it was
sink or swim, let's all start doing the backstroke. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. And if it was sitting outside and, you know, call ahead orders, you know, and dropping it in the car as they're going by, then, you know, so be it.
We had a really cool lady I delivered to her office building every day. She'd just unlock the trunk from her house, and I'd put it in the trunk, or from the office, and I'd call her like, I'm here. She'd unlock the trunk, and I'd just boop, put it in the trunk, shut the trunk, boop.
That's awesome.
You know, we tried to do some cool stuff. Like, we did like an activity sheet. We handed out crayons with it, like a little lunch bag because you had to deliver food. So there's like a bag of chips. We did Smoke Shack jerky. We did like a meat stick one of the times with like a coupon to his thing. I dressed up like a Beastie Boy, but then people thought we were like the CDC because we had the white suits on. So Kaylee and I did that the first week. Blasting Intergalactic.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I dressed up in all neon one time, and like Cyndi Lauper girls just want to have fun, listen, jamming out to some like really cool like Spanish music. My cousin at K2 has a video of me like pulling up, like squealing the tires, leaving, just like acting like a maniac. You know, we really just tried to lift people's spirits as well, and not dwell on it. Like, what's that gonna do for us? So, you know, we put our best foot forward, and here we are. We still managed to open the Buffalo Tasting Room. We opened it on Festivus. That's when the liquor license came in through the door.
Nice.
So we just threw the A-frame out. We weren't ready, but it's just retail to go anyway. So we have the liquor license, crowlered some stuff up. We got, you know, customers immediately. Our number one customer that came through, Angela and Greg, and they're in our mug club. And there's a photo of them that we posted. So they've been regulars. They're super cool people that live like really close by. The Buffalo community and neighborhood is great. The mug club filled up pretty quickly. So we're happy about that, you know.
It's a full wall, right?
Yeah, I can't complain about having 56 people who didn't know that much about us, who are willing to say like, yeah, I'll drink here periodically where this makes sense. So
nice.
Yeah, we started opening on Sundays just starting last week. We did a pop-up with Dimples Pancakes, which is like this really cool pancake company. A young couple have it together, and I think we're going to be in the works of hopefully getting them to come here a few more times. It was really cool. Just like quick, flip these little pancakes. We did some cider mimosas. That Scotch Bonnet Bomber is really good with a splash of orange juice. Like, you know, we're pretty game for whatever.
Love this.
Yeah, so it's so far so good. And we have another customer who comes in, and he's pretty cool. We're working on maybe an event for fall time that will hopefully incorporate some of the other businesses in the area. We've got to get that like figured out, but he wants to work here, so we might open on Wednesdays. I'm trying to get a comedy group to come in here hopefully on like Thursdays. We're pretty open to whatever.
Yeah, and you've got a size in the space here, a great space. And for a lot of people who would listen to this interview, who are a lot of out-of-towners, I even have a few people from overseas who are from Buffalo, and they'll know what I'm talking about, is we're right on Main Street.
Yeah.
So you're outside the
Trolley track,
so
tram track.
our train, our subway that runs on the surface, welcome to Buffalo. Shays is right here. Shays is going to be
This theater
up in
district is
that.
good. Yeah, Town Ballroom. I heard an advert for them the other day. They've got a show coming in. That's great. We've got the baseball stadium's not far, so we get the influx of people, and that's really cool.
Which is great, with the Blue Jays now playing in Buffalo for the time being. And
yeah, I heard a rumor that they might stick around, but hey, we've all heard bad rumors. So hopefully,
right.
that'd be cool if it's a real rumor.
It's all right.
We could use a baseball
If
team.
they're loving it, it's fine.
Buffalo, let's do it.
I was at you saw I was at Brightsmith last night. So Brightsmith, and they had the game on, and I'm there with folks, and they it didn't take but a moment to realize that game on national television is being broadcast from
Buffalo, New York. Here we are. Buffalo's got some really cool people. I don't know if they like Buffalo's been great. They say keep Buffalo a secret. I joke. I was like, keep OSB a secret, because we've not done any advertising. We did do a Mortalis can drop here, which was super cool because it was a way to get people to know about us without having to do like a big campaign. Realistically, it's like, Mortalis is right down by us. We know them. We were in a competition together, Brewing Livingston County, for a grant competition. They were one of the winners. We were one of the winners. There were 4 of them. I mean, Livingston County is great too. We've got the Libation Loop. You got Rising Storm. You've got Dublin Coroners. You got No BS. I mean, and Amber Lantern's opening like a second thing. They're not in Livingston County, but they're opening a second brewery in Livingston County. Has a different name. Strange Design, I believe, is what it's called. So that's really cool. I mean, I love to bring Livingston County to Buffalo, and I would like to take some Buffalo stuff. We have, some Thin Man stuff on down there. I love the guys at Froth. When we're open, they carried our product. So I would love to do like a little can thing down there if we can. But it's all like everybody's so busy just trying to make everything work and very spread thin. So, but hey, we've got all the time in the world to share Livingston County with Buffalo and Buffalo with Livingston County.
That's why we keep notebooks around.
Exactly. I use my hand a lot. I got a lot of pictures of the top of my hand at the end of the day. I'm real organized.
What was that for? I don't.
Yeah, I'm like, what does that say? I wash my hand too many times. I only can make out a gnar. At least it's summer. You write it on your thigh, and it's a little bit safer. So
yeah, sure. I'll be
thigh note season.
Thigh note season. Hashtag thigh note season.
We're officially in thigh note season.
I promised I wouldn't go back to the Daisy Dukes, but maybe I'll have to.
I mean, thigh notes are all the rage.
It's old is new again, I guess.
There we go.
So there.
We're starting a trend.
All right. So we're Main Street. We're Buffalo now. So, and we've talked a little bit of the future.
Yeah.
You're just.
So we're doing the building expansion in Lakeville.
Okay.
So we're adding a 2,000 square foot building to the back of it so that we can ramp up production and make the tasting room down there bigger for the people that need a little bit more space. They want to play pool and throw darts and stuff. This space up here, we have a bunch of board games and stuff, so you can just kind of hang out and do that. And then we have the video game up here, so that's cool. You can play like old school Nintendo. And then we like to hang up local art up here to try to get other, local artists for sale. So calling all artists, if you need a space to sell your art, we take no money. Just have to have your own Venmo, because I don't want to deal with the money. But yeah, so we're doing the building expansion so that we can help supply once I start advertising up here.
Yeah.
And then we assume that we'll, snag a few more bars to be on draft at. We're starting to get a little team up here who's going to be working behind the bar. We've got Glenister, the mascot. So with the building expansion, the sky is honestly like the limits. Maybe one day we'll package, probably not too soon. Don't get your hopes up, guys. But
baby steps.
5-year plan would be to get into some package. So
yeah, sky's the limit. And you look around in here, and you've got
we've got the sky right here.
Storm cloud decor in here, which I love.
Yeah.
To make sure I post a little.
They're not that hard to make, guys. I can guide you through it. You too can make your own cloud light.
Love it.
Yeah. But so far we're loving Buffalo, and we're happy to be here, and everybody's been so kind, and we've already made some friends up here, and we're happy that Buffalo is welcoming us with, somewhat open arms. I mean, from a distance, but now we can hug, I think. I think hugging is allowed. Yeah, now everybody can hug again. So Buffalo is opening their arms to us and giving us a nice hug. So we're happy to be here. And I think that people are happy we're here too. So,
Yeah.
you know, I don't have any plans of another tasting room anytime soon. Maybe one day in the future. We have a brother in Corning that makes all the glass mugs, Elijah. So everybody always wants to buy his mugs. So maybe he'll open a glass studio cider tasting thing in Corning. But hey, if somebody wants to open a tasting room, they can reach out to me if they want to do the legwork. It's a little tiring to open if there's one, but you know, we're not against it. You might have to convince me a little, but yeah, so a little bit, you know. But yeah, so far so good. We couldn't be happier with what's happening in Buffalo.
What a fun conversation I had with Elise Smith with OSB Ciderworks. This is the second time I've had the opportunity to sit down with her, try what they have available, and she is wonderful to talk to, very passionate about their product, and they really have a great thing going in Buffalo. Like I said in the interview, it was before COVID had happened when I had the first opportunity to sit and talk with her, and they were just in the process of putting that tap room in place. And then when everything happened, obviously it put a stop on things, but they never stopped paying the rent, and they persevered through, and now they have a thriving and growing business. I've seen their presence grow more and more online just in the past few weeks. So the summer is really ramping up for them. You can visit them yourself at 517 Main Street in the city of Buffalo. That's right along the Metro Rail. And a little hint for next week, I'm going to be talking about Main Street in Buffalo, a little bit of history, a little bit of modern, and try to put some sense to why we have a subway that runs on the surface of our streets in Buffalo. It's always something that we've wondered, but it gives us character. Hey, we love our city, right? So 517 Main Street, visit Elise, and you also heard in the background a few barks. That's Sir Glenister. Now, Sir Glenister is her resident sweetie there, bulldog, guard dog of sorts. The day I was there, he seemed to take to me pretty easy, but other people that would walk in the door, he was picky and choosy. Well, I don't want to deal with him. I don't want to deal with them or her, but yep, I seem to be okay. I don't know. Maybe it's because I smell like bacon all the time or something. I don't know. I'm just spitballing, seeing what sticks here. So visit Elise down at OSB Ciderworks, 517 Main Street. You can visit them on social media at OSB Ciderworks. And I'll post a picture of Sir Glenister on our page. And if you want to follow him, you can follow him at Sir Glenister on social media. SirGlenister, Sir Glenister. So that's going to be it for us this week. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. And we have so much more coming. I have a crazy busy schedule. I tell my friends all the time that I'm staring at the wall most of the time, but let's face it, I'm sometimes busier than a one-armed paper hanger in a windstorm, but that's okay. I'll take that. I have some things coming up, including a 4-day golf retreat / tournament that I'm in Rochester, so I'll be partaking in that, and I'll holler about that a little later. And next week, I'm going to also share with you some beer tasting a la Black Widow movie watching as well that I did this weekend. So in the meantime, go out there with much peace and love, and always remember to make your own path, except this week, maybe make that path toward OSB Ciderworks. And one last thing, and this is something I've been excited to share with you all, so bouncing some ideas off of Elise even the day that we did the interview and through a few texts, but it looks like that we're going to be able to, in the near future here, announce our first Buffalo Brews, I guess, happy hour, you could say. So we're looking at a Wednesday or a Thursday night. Looks like the target is going to be somewhere in that September area. So keep your ears peeled on our social media and to this podcast, and we'll let you know as things start to take shape. In the meantime, I am Jason Ettinger. So long.